So the holiday season is just around the corner, which means that the ACT December test is fast approaching as well. So in light of that, this video will be discussing what exactly you should be doing in the last few weeks before your ACT test to actually get some improvement, regardless of whether you're just starting out your prep or you've been prepping for many weeks and months. I've seen these techniques work really well for students in both cases. And that means at least a few points of improvement within just a couple weeks. So these techniques can help you as long as you have some time and determination to actually prep and practice for the ACT exam. So we're going to be discussing 5 things that you can be doing day to day, week to week to actually find improvement. And on top of that, before I get into what those 5 things are, I just wanted to mention, if you need any more help or personalization or advice on top of what's discussed here, you can check out our courses and even free tutoring that we have linked below, and that can help you out as well. All right, so let's get in right away to the 5 things that we have. So the first thing is, out of the 5 things, the prerequisite, the center of all improvement on the ACT exam is obviously taking practice exams. The question then becomes, how much should you take? Generally, what I recommend for students before you take the ACT exam, and I'm not going to recommend this for you, but I'm just saying, what I recommend is 8 to 12 full practice tests before your test date. I'm not going to have you take 8 to 12 full practice tests in 3 weeks. But if you have already started prepping and if you already have a number of practice tests, try to get to the 8 to 12 range, the more the better, okay? If you're just starting out and you don't have any tests, then just do 1 to 2 exams per week, okay? So 1 to 2 per week. And there's different ways to structure that. So for example, you could be doing 1 full exam over the course of the weekend, like you do it all on like a Saturday morning or something. I recommend you do that actually, because if you do that at least once, that'll help you get your endurance down and you'll be less anxious in the exam, you'll get less tired. So you can do 1 test like that every week on the weekend. You just wake up and do it. And then you do your second test for the week, like spread out throughout the weekdays. So you do 1 section on Monday, then another section on Tuesday, then another on Thursday, then another on Friday. And that's your 2 exams for the week. You spread it out. You didn't just do it all on the weekend or all on the weekdays. It's efficient that way, right? So there's different ways to structure it. The whole point is that you get used to the exam. And this is kind of obvious, right? But you're practicing so you can, go through the exam, get used to timing, get used to the question types, get used to the strategies, the content, the skills. All those things that we discuss in these YouTube videos, you're going to get used to all that. And in terms of how you actually learn those skills and whatnot and get used to them, even more so than just practicing, we're going to discuss those in the next 4 tips for how to improve. All right. So the first thing is take the right amount of practice. Try to get to 8 to 12 practice tests if you can, but don't do too much. Don't go more than 1 to 2 a week, and just keep that in mind. All right. The second thing is you want to experiment with different strategies. So this applies to every section, but especially for reading and science. And the reason I say experiment is because with reading and science, there are different ways to skim, there are different ways to read, there are different ways to time yourself. And depending on how much you've practiced, depending on how skilled you are at reading and looking at information and picking it up and remembering it, different methods are going to work for you and certain methods might not work for you. There are different ways to time yourself on science. So for example, one method for science timing is to divide your 35 minutes by 6 and just spend like 5 minutes and 50 seconds on each passage, because there's 6 passages. So that's 35 divided by 6 minutes or 6 passages. That's one way to do it. But again, there's varying levels of difficulty in different science passages. So there's other strategies. I have made other videos that go in depth on like the different science timing methods and the different reading skimming methods. I highly recommend that you watch those, because if I go into them here, then this is going to turn into a 30-minute video. But just to give you an idea, for like reading, you could do skimming. You could like skim the whole passage, or you can read in depth the whole passage, or you can like randomly pick and choose sentences to like read and skim and skip. That's actually what I do. Or you could like read the first paragraph and like skim everything else until you read the last paragraph. This might sound like gibberish, but I'm just giving you an idea. There's a lot of ways to go about it. You have to figure out the one that works for you, and me just discussing it 5 seconds in this video is not going to give you that understanding. You should watch some of the other videos that we have that go over those. I will make it a point to link them in the description below, all right? So experiment with different reading and science, timing, and skimming methods, okay? And same goes for, as for math and English. For math, I don't recommend you experiment too much. Just try to answer the first 30 questions in the first 20 minutes, right? That's your math strategy. Just try to get as close to that as possible. You don't have to be there, but just try to get to that. And for English, just divide it up evenly. Now, this applies for more than just like reading and skimming and timing strategies. It can also just be like different ways of like canceling out answer options or answering questions. Again, I'm just giving some examples, but experiment with strategies. That's the second thing that you want to be doing, so you can find the strategies that work for you and to stay away from the ones that you are not comfortable with. That's what you got to figure out, all right? The third thing is that you want to review your mistakes on English and math. English and math are very, very skill heavy, while reading and science are more like strategy and technique heavy, right? So with English math, you're tested on the same skills every time, and you want to make sure that you understand those skills and you develop mastery over them. So taking your practice exams and looking over the questions that you got wrong, specifically the ones that you got wrong in English and math, and trying to understand why the correct answer is correct, why what you did is wrong, is going to help you at least learn from your mistakes. You might not be able to do this for every question, but at least you did it for some, right? You're still learning there and you're getting used to the content, you're getting used to the skills. That's one way to get used to the skills. A faster way is you use our section mastery plans on our website for English and math, where we actually give you customized problem sets for each like skill or for all the skills. So you can check that out as well. That's linked below. Like I said, that'll give you one problem set devoted to each skill on English and math. You can go through all of them and that'll help you a lot. So there's different ways to do it. There's a paid method, there's a free method. I already give you both options, but the practice test method will take more time, it'll take more effort on your end, but it can definitely help you, all right? So keep that in mind. You have to, if you don't master the English and math skills, it's gonna be very hard to improve here because that's what you're really tested on. If you know the skills, you're gonna be able to answer questions faster and the test just gets a lot easier. And if you don't know the skills, you're just gonna be stuck and you're gonna be wasting time and you're not gonna get a chance to answer any of those last 10 to 20 questions, which means your score is not gonna get above like a 25 or a 20. So take that with a grain of salt. You have to understand skills and you gotta do it as fast as possible by reviewing your mistakes on English and math, all right? Number 4, on top of reviewing your mistakes on the exams that you're about to take, I would recommend that you review your mistakes on any past exams that you've done as well, your past practice tests. So if you have like taken a practice exam, like from our website, for example, like the 6 exams that we have linked below for free, if you've taken any exams from there, like in the past few weeks, then, and if you still have your results, like what your responses were, I would recommend you go back at some point, maybe in a few days or in a couple weeks, and look over what you did wrong. Look over those mistakes so that you remember, okay, yeah, that's something that I don't want to do, and you'll probably end up learning more just by looking over your past mistakes. Because I know it is tempting to just be like, oh, if I want to learn mistakes, I want to just take another practice test, but obviously that takes a lot of time, that takes a lot of effort. You have to actually spend a practice test because, you know, that's a limited resource. So a good way to like still get that same experience and to even refresh a little bit is to make sure you still remember the stuff you made that you did wrong in your past exams. So looking over past exam mistakes and kind of reflecting on that, even taking notes on it, that'll help you improve a little bit on those in those same areas. Because what you'll notice as well is that you'll start to make the same mistakes again and again if you're not learning from those mistakes. You'll keep missing out on those question types and those specific skills that you just didn't learn in high school. And if you want more familiarity with the different skills and question types on English, math, and reading and science as well, we have videos devoted to the 52 ACT math skills, the 25 English skills, the 22 reading question types, and the 35 science question types. We've broken it all down with examples of how these can show up and how these look. So those are all on our channel as well. I recommend you watch them. They're not too long and they'll give you an idea of what each question type on each section looks like, all right? So that's reviewing mistakes on past exams. So just to recap, the first 4 things were practice heavily. I discussed earlier what numbers you should do, 8 to 12 practice exams by the time your test date comes, or 1 to 2 per week. Experiment with different reading and science strategies, review your exams that you're taking from now onwards, review your past exams. This is with reference to English and math. And then the thing number 5 is that you should watch our video that we're gonna release in 1 week, and again in another 2 weeks, where we update this cramming procedure of what you should be doing 1 week from now, 2 weeks from now, and how to go forward. What I gave you right now is a generic like 3-week study plan, but we're gonna be updating this in 2 weeks. Okay, like so now, right now you have 3 weeks left, but you know, once you have 2 weeks left, how does the study plan change? What should you be doing? If you've made progress, all right, great. What's the next step? If you didn't make progress, if you kind of procrastinated, how can you make up for those mistakes and overcome and make sure that you're not just wasting time and like, because there's an element of like, oh, I didn't study as much as I should have this week, so it's over. I'm not gonna make any progress. But even if you procrastinate, which is bound to happen for 90% of you, there's still hope, right? You still have 2 weeks left, even if you don't take advantage of those 2 weeks and you still have 1 week left. So again, we're gonna update this in the coming week. So make sure that you tune into those videos and to our cramming live stream the night before the ACT exam, where we actually go over how to do everything and just give you last minute tips on how to make use of the time that you have left, regardless of how much time that is, because all time is good time, and that's just a saying that I made up that makes no sense. All right, the last thing that I'll discuss, and those are my 5 things, by the way, that was it. But the last thing that I'll discuss is if you need any more help, like I said before, and if you want to enroll in any programs where you have tutoring with me, if you want to discuss with me how to prep and how to develop strategies and how to find the right strategies for you and do that as fast as possible without doing all this search and like all this work on your end where you have to do this by yourself, feel free to check out our programs that are linked below. We have lots of courses that students have found really helpful. Even within just 1 to 2 weeks, we have a tutoring program that you can use over the next 3 weeks. That's a perfect amount of time to use it. If you want to enroll in one of our like strategy mastery plans or section mastery plans, those will help you learn all the skills on the ACT exam and develop strategies and choose strategies that are going to help you succeed on any section of the test. So feel free to check all that out. That is linked below. There's even some free stuff on our website as well, including practice tests. We have some free tutoring that's application based and a lot of other stuff. So feel free to check that out. I hope that's helpful. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions or any comments or concerns or any video ideas as well in the comments below, and I'd love to check it out and answer. Apart from that, that's it for me. Best of luck prepping, and I'll see you next week. Bye.